Hello, I'm Jay Bartlett, a fly fishing enthusiast and videographer. Sportfish have very kindly agreed to showcase a film that I made last year from my favourite destination on the planet, chasing what I believe to be the most remarkable migratory fish in the Atlantic. A close cousin to Atlantic salmon and sea trout, bright silver from the sea and fiery red when spawning. I'm of course speaking of sea-run Arctic char. Our adventures take place in the west coast of Greenland, deep within a fjord only accessible by sailing boat from a local coastal town, Sisimiut. This should be very interesting for anyone who is particularly interested in salmon fishing, sea trout, river trout, or even stillwater fishing. So sit back and relax for the next 15 minutes as we journey to the Ekalugsuxuit River. This is Camp North. When you arrive in the fjord at Camp North, nothing can quite prepare you for its scale and beauty. We sail for roughly an hour and a half to 2 hours, and if you're lucky, there can be some truly magical moments. The mountain ranges stretch a mile high, cascading down into the sea. After taking in the views and the local sea life, we load up all the gear and provisions for a week of fishing into 2 small dinghies to make our final journey upriver to camp. This is the moment where the river valley feels both vast and intimate, a paradox that only nature can create. To feel tiny in a big way. We begin each morning with breakfast at 8, before getting suited and booted for the day ahead. Bug nets are essential for some times of the day. Lightweight wading boots are ideal for long days hiking and fishing. We use single hand rods between a 5 and a 7 weight, paired with a weight forward floating line. Leader setups can be adapted to the wide array of flies used to target the fish. Each angler has their own insulated tent with a comfortable field bed, from which, one by one, eager fishermen emerge and begin their first trek of the day. Taking the old caribou trails, we eagerly make our way upstream. An important factor of fishing at Camp North is the willingness to hike a fair distance on a daily basis. The first holding pools are at least 30 minutes away, and 45 minutes to the central location of the river system. From here you can fish back to camp, or journey further upriver to the tributary, or take the boat across the lake to the upper river. Fishing the main river begins below a large lake and is met with a smaller tributary, creating a weave of junction pools. and cuts a deep channel running along the high bank for some distance downstream. Here is a perfect stretch of water for skating foam flies, or swinging and stripping streamers. As we make our first cast of the day, hearts race with anticipation. Waiting in the depths below, sea-run Arctic char jostle for position, and it's not long before one takes exception to your fly. These char pull hard, burying their heads down. Their strength is both formidable and surprising for their size. It's a battle of both patience and skill, but we land them quickly to ensure their survival once released. Pink streamers are one of many great flies to attract the char, especially during the early weeks of July, where many big fresh fish return from the sea. Fishing around the mouth of the tributary can be highly productive, as many fish choose to run here. Bigger fish too. Smaller bright nymphs can produce a lot of nice fish that are otherwise wary of larger offerings. After all, Arctic char are slow-growing, long-lived fish who migrate multiple times in their life cycle. There is every chance they've seen these flies once before. In fact, much less is known about the biology of sea-run Arctic char when compared with their close relatives the Atlantic salmon or sea trout. But these remarkable fish have been recorded to up to 40 years of age. Cold winter seas prevent the char from prolonged exposure to the salt. Instead, they remain in freshwater rivers and lakes until the spring floods, when they pour into the fjord to feed heavily for a few short weeks, fattening up for the next summer migration. Continuing our adventure upstream, one of your options to explore is the Tributary River. There are different ways to access these waters, either by following the stream up through the canyon and fishing its pocket pools, or by hiking up and over the mountain ridge that splits the river valley to access the upper reaches and lakes. As you begin to climb the diverse terrain, there is every possibility you will encounter some of the locals. What makes the tributary so special is the wide array of fishing opportunities. From small pockets to smooth holding pools, anglers are sure to be rewarded for up to another hour of hiking to these beautiful spots. The fishing possibilities here are seemingly endless, as the tributary reaches the first of 3 lakes, and some smaller creeks that connect them beyond. One of the true gems of the Tributary River comes in the form of a small, smooth run of just 50 meters. Gliding through a plateau adorned with steep mountains, occasionally revealed from behind low-hanging clouds. On sunny days, snowmelt from smaller creeks soften the color of the water to a glacial blue. Gently gliding below the surface, the unmistakable dark navy silhouettes are revealed in what is affectionately named the $1 Million Pool. This is one of those special places where you can clearly see and target specific fish. Watching as wave after wave of fresh char enter the pool, and previous occupants continue their journey upstream. What sets these magnificent fish apart from other salmonids are their significantly larger fins that enable them to push through long rapids and gives them the edge in a fight. Fresh from the sea, Arctic char have an almost turquoise shimmer. Their unmistakable white edge on their lower fins pair beautifully with their obscure spots and markings. Tightly packed scales, each glistening like mirrors in the sun, makes them a little slippery to handle. But we do our best to return every fish strong and healthy. It can pay off to approach the water with care, especially when sight fishing with nymphs. Watching closely as the fish begins quivering its fins and finally engulfs your fly. These fish can really surprise you and offer quite a challenge on lighter setups. You may not even realize just how many fish are here until they move. It's no wonder where the pool gets its name. Some of the most exciting fishing on the tributary can be found in its numerous pocket pools. Skating foam flies across the calmer, smoother water, or presenting wet flies with precision. You can find fish of all sizes here too, all the way back down to the main river. You may even wonder, when was the last time you fished a river with no name? Probably never. Thanks to the addition of a boat some years ago, what used to be a 2-hour hike along the banks of the lake now offers a relaxing crossing of around 45 minutes. So anglers are able to reach the upper river faster and conserve energy to explore this magnificent piece of water between the first and the second lake. As we travel deeper through the valley, eventually you will see it. A narrow channel of water feeds into the lake at the end of a short delta. You can catch a glimpse of the distant peaks and begin imagining what lies below them in the waters ahead, marking the end of our crossing and the start of our next adventure. The delta gives way to rocky features, short meandering rapids, and glassy holding pools. Hiking the first half an hour will lead you to arguably one of the most beautiful sights on the river, the view from the Cutbank Pool. While it's tempting to start fishing, the best is yet to come. In the distance, you can just about make out where the next lake ends and the waterfall of the upper river begins. A further 30 minutes upriver, and you will arrive in a fly fisher's paradise, where silver lies in wait. The waterfall is a challenging obstacle course and rises high enough to make the char stack up in the pools below in great numbers. Fishing here is only a matter of time before the line goes tight. And as anywhere else in the river, you can find big fresh fish. The hallmark of a tide fresh fish from the last 24 hours. Almost completely white with a shimmer of blue. The river here offers some fantastic long pools reminiscent of salmon rivers, where fish cling to large submerged rocks, eagerly rising to swung flies and taking powerful lunging runs downstream. You won't be surprised to see your backing once or twice during a fight. It can be difficult to hold the fish in the pool, but a steady hand and nerve can get the job done. Another of Camp North's most effective flies, the sparsely dressed five-hair fly, which accounts for many fish during the season. A deadly combination when fished in tandem with a small nymph below. As we continue downstream, these long pools continue into the highly productive Streamer Alley and the picturesque Char pool. Catching a big char here is equally as entertaining as being a spectator from the high bank above. Seeing the take, the runs, and the heart-stopping leaps. Every fish caught up here is special and feels like a quest fulfilled. It's a privilege to encounter these fish, not just about catching, but a connection to the world and something timelessly pure. To experience sea-run Arctic char is something you'll carry with you long after the sound of the river has faded into memory. The journey home is long, but worth every minute, particularly in the company of good friends and the birth of legendary stories. Each day winds down back at camp, with dinner on the table at 8 p.m. While some of the locals frolic in the dimming of the midnight sun, tired anglers can return to the comfort of their own tent for some much-needed downtime. The camp chef ensures everyone is sufficiently refueled for the next day's fishing, while anglers regale each other with stories from the river. As the camp settles down for another night, the wilderness persists under the soft pink skies. It's hard not to imagine how many fish are cruising past camp as the tide rises and falls. But tomorrow is another day. Thank you so much for watching. If you have just tuned in or would like to watch the movie again, you can find it on YouTube under the title Camp North or on my YouTube channel titled The Fly Tire. I'm sure some of you will be very interested to find out more about Arctic char as a species and what it takes to arrange a trip to Greenland. So I put together a few FAQs for you here, but by all means, please feel free to contact me directly on contact@theflytired.com, or you can find me on any social media channels under the name Jay Bartlett Fishing. What are the best locations for Arctic char in Greenland? Other than Camp North, which is focused on the largest char in Greenland with hiking and camping, we also have Ærfugl, which is a beautiful mountain river and lake system that begins as a small creek feeding from a glacier down through 2 waterfalls, deltas and lakes before emptying into the sea at the location of a modern and very comfortable lodge. The fishing here offers remarkable topwater action with skated foam flies and just about any fly fishing technique you could wish to try, from salmon, sea trout, river trout and lake trout tactics. Ærfugl has it all. There is also Kangia, further south on the west coast nestled within a fjord, which is a singular, short, crystal clear blue-watered river meandering down through a steep mountain valley with seemingly endless gravel bank drop-offs and deep water channels that would light up the eyes and hearts of any salmon angler. The fishable water ends with a gorgeous waterfall that is not passable for the fish, and a great viewpoint for those early runners staking their claim of the spawning areas. Kangia has a very good average size fish and offers great opportunities for both single hand and lightweight switch or double hand fishing. Though similar to Ærfugl, you can be successful with most any anadromous fly fishing tactics. Stay tuned until the end of this segment to see a sneak peek clip from both of these lodges that will be 2 new films to be released later this year. When is the best time to fish for Arctic char? Unlike salmon and sea trout, the char cannot overwinter in the sea, as the cold temps and salt are too harsh on their gills. Therefore, the fish leave when the ice breaks, feed heavily, and during the short summer months make their way back to fresh water to spawn, and/or overwinter. This window of opportunity happens from June to the end of September. However, to avoid over-pressuring such a delicate balance of fish stocks, and to ensure that anyone visiting has the best fishing opportunities, the fishing season starts in early July and ends in August, except for Kangia, where the season is a little later to start and so runs from the end of July to mid-September. There are no so-called prime weeks, only a personal choice of fish you would like to target. The earlier in the season, the fresher and more silver the fish will be on average. Later in the season, there will be more colourful redfish that the char are renowned for. But you can be assured that during these weeks, the fish are in their best condition. Are there any other species than Arctic char? Arctic char are the only freshwater species in Greenland, other than small sticklebacks that are native to freshwaters. However, there is one exception, one river that holds a very small stock of Atlantic salmon located further south. Arctic char are the most northern migratory fish that thrive in the colder water conditions and whose life cycle has adapted to the extremes of the Greenlandic environment. There are, however, ample opportunities to target sea species from the coast. There is an extremely vibrant population of cod that can be targeted from almost any coastal mark, including the local towns and the river destinations. Due to the sustainable stocks of both cod and char, it is not uncommon for guests to be able to try both during a week's stay. Other species that can be caught but are less frequent are wolffish, redfish and halibut. What are the chances of catching fish? Greenland is one of the few places left in the world where the fish are currently in excellent numbers and supports a healthy, balanced ecosystem. It is never a good idea to expect that you will catch fish anywhere, but bearing that in mind, you would be incredibly unlucky not to connect with fish on a daily basis. Targeting char in Greenland is definitely a throwback to the old stories of salmon rivers being so full that you could literally walk across their backs. It becomes much less about will I catch a fish and far more a daily choice as to how you would like to target them. Which techniques would you like to try, and even sight fishing and targeting the larger, older and far wiser fish in the pool. Greenland is definitely the location for any disenchanted fly fishers that have struggled with poor numbers, conditions or plain bad luck when out on the water for the available time we can book or can dedicate to what we love at home. So when looking abroad, Arctic char are definitely a great bet and every bit as rewarding. Please feel free to contact me for any advice and for booking trips. We have excellent details on all river locations and pre-trip information and planners. It is fully booked for this summer season in 2025, but we are already taking bookings for 2026, so worth making the arrangements in advance. All that's left to say is thank you so much for watching and to Sportfish for showcasing. There will be 2 more films coming later this year, both from Airfalik and Kangia. Those will come later this year in the autumn after our summer adventures in 2025. Thank you all and tight lines.